Okay, well, we've hit the 2 o'clock hour, Katie, so we're going to get rolling here. I know everyone is busy, but wanted to start this off with a Happy New Year. We're really excited about 2023. My name is Jessica DeGraff. I know I've had many of you on various webinars over the past this past fall and at various times, but really excited about our spring webinar series. And really the purpose of this webinar is to get you really thinking about spring 2023 and giving you applicable things that you can still do to make a difference moving forward into this spring. My role at Proven Winners is to work with our independent garden center customers to help you to leverage the marketing and the support tools, and more than that, to help to drive more customers than ever to your garden center to find not just Proven Winners products, but all products, and really to help them to make that connection with you as a local source. But today, we've got so much to go through. I don't want to take up too much time. I can't begin to tell you all, and I know many of you know Katie. I can't begin to tell you how excited we are to have Katie on the line today to talk about SMS and really why it's so important that your garden center looks at this as a tool and as a part of your social media and your marketing strategy. Many of you know Katie from her, Katie does a lot of different things. She writes articles for Green Profit and Grower Talks. She's been a part of American Hort and presents at the Cultivate trade show. But Katie has a business called The Garden of Words. She's been doing that for 15 years, CEO and founder. If you're looking for somebody to help you with marketing, Katie is truly a dynamo. So if you've not worked with Katie, if you don't know her, highly, highly, highly encourage you to reach out. And with that, Katie, I'm going to let you take it over.
Cool. Well, I'm so excited to be here. I truly love marketing. I love email marketing. I love SMS. I am a horticulturist. I went to Purdue and then through the Longwood graduate program in the University of Delaware. And I thought I would be managing botanic gardens, and life has other plans sometimes. So ended up doing marketing, and I love it. I love supporting the businesses that are helping consumers garden. And so if I'm not teaching preschoolers about how to plant carrots, I'm very happy to help the people that still are. And really excited to be here today. You're definitely going to want to grab the handout. I tried to really pare it down so that it's just like the most important stuff that I think you need to know to get started with SMS. And Jessica will say more at the end, but if you like this one and you get an SMS program rolling at the end of February, I think it might be February 23rd, we have a quasi part 2. If this is 101, that's like 301, 401. And we are going to dig much deeper into some of the metrics, send times, ideas, and all of that. So today is to give you an overview of what we are doing. So here is our agenda today, or our agenda. We're going to go through speaking SMS. And so and I'm going to go off on a little tangent here, and then I'll come right back. If you have been to one of my webinars, you know I love a tangent. So what I want you to keep in mind today, and I might actually do a newsletter that goes out tomorrow, I'm not sure. And when you get your handouts, you will be subscribed to the newsletter, which is about every other week. And if you don't want it, just unsubscribe, no hard feelings. But anyways, I've been thinking a lot about language and digital transformations and digital marketing and work, because I am a plant person. I just showed Jessica this. All next to me is my indoor jungle, and I'm a plant person, but I have to speak tech. And so I was recently listening to a Brene Brown podcast where she interviewed a couple of researchers, and they talked about how learning about all of this stuff is like learning another language. And it's true. And that happens with our hobbies as well. So I like to do watercolor drawings and paintings, but I didn't know anything about that until a couple of years ago. And so there's all these terms like picking up paint. Well, what does that mean? Overworking a piece. What does that mean? A glaze, a wash, all of that. We have all of our horticulture jargon that we use. Tech is no different than that. But what I really loved from this Brene podcast, and what I hope today will do for you, is that what the researchers were talking about is that if somebody is learning a new language, they just need to learn about 30% to be fluent, not even to understand, like to speak pretty fluently. 30% of that new language. So you don't have to feel like you need to be an expert or you need to know everything. You just need to know enough. And so what I feel like I have tried to do today for you, and what the speaking SMS part is to teach you the 30% that you need to know to be able to get going on it yourself, or talk to a provider if you have someone helping you with your marketing. And to think of it as kind of an exciting thing to learn, and that you don't have to be an expert. So that's my tangent to a tangent to a tangent. We're going to do speaking SMS, do a little bit of why SMS, how it can help your business, what it can do for you, why do it now, a little bit about choosing a service, and then some ideas for getting started, some tips and ideas. And some things today we'll go a little deeper into. Others, I am saving a deeper dive for February, because I could probably talk to you for 24 hours straight without drawing breath. But we only have an hour. We really only have like 45 minutes, because I want you to be able to ask me questions. So I'm going to go through the whole presentation, and then feel free to chat amongst yourselves and in the chat. And if you have a question that you want me to answer at the end, make sure you put those in the Q&A box. So away we go. The new language. SMS stands for short message service, and it's coming through pretty much on your phone. So that's what the words come from. MMS, which I use SMS to kind of encapsulate MMS. But MMS is technically what you call the messages that come through as text that have media. So pictures, audio, or video included. MMS generally does cost more to send, but it might be worth it for you. So this is an example of an MMS message. And if you're if you're a garden center and you're selling something beautiful, or you want to show people something beautiful like gorgeous hanging baskets, or, oh my gosh, the proven winners pre-planted containers. Yeah, I am a plant enthusiast. I love the big containers for the patio with the proven winners plants. If you get a truckload of those in and you want to show them off, I would put an image with that. So that's what MMS means, but I tend to use SMS interchangeably for MMS. Now, this is a slide that I created after doing a few SMS talks and getting people's questions, because I realized that I don't think a lot of people really understand how this works, because you get the messages are coming to your phone, but that's not how you're sending them. And this slide is included in the handout. I put it in the handout so you have it as a little reference. So here is how SMS messaging and marketing works. You have an SMS provider, which would be something like Klaviyo or Attentive or Twilio. There are a bunch. Podium. There's so many now. SMS is relatively new. I'm sure some of these will drop off. But you have the SMS provider. It's like your email provider. SMS and email are very similar in that way, that you're not sending your marketing emails, or you shouldn't be. If you are, we need to chat, guys. But you're not sending your marketing emails through your Gmail account or your Outlook account. You're sending them from MailChimp or Constant Contact or Klaviyo. So you have your SMS provider, and that's where everything happens. And all the messages are kept. Everything runs through there. Nothing actually happens on your phone unless you have an app, unless you have the app for the provider. Then you have the sign-up forms. So you have your provider, you get it all set up, you make sign-up forms, just like you do with email. And so those originate from your provider. It is where people sign up if they sign up in a form. There's also some like tap to join, text to join. There are a bunch of different ways that you can do SMS sign-up. You don't want to do paper. No to a paper SMS form. We will talk about that more later. But the forms originate from the provider. Once somebody signs up on the form and they confirm their opt-in, they go on your subscriber list. And that lives in your provider. And that tracks all of the activity. You can see who opened up stuff, how many people opened, just like an email service. And you can segment your subscriber list so that you can send out, different messages to different people, just like you do with email. Within your service provider, you'll have your message builder interface, again, much like email. That's where you create your message, and it will have little character counts and information. It'll let you add pictures. They're all slightly different, but they're different, but they're all very similar. I mean, it's kind of like email service providers. Each interface is a little different, but if you've used one, you can probably figure out how to use another one. So you have the message builder, you write out your message in there, and most of them have a little preview so you can see what it looks like. Then you're going to schedule it and it will send. And you schedule it through the service, and then it gets sent out to everybody, just like emails, only instead of ending up in their email box, it ends up in their phone. And then most of the services have an option for conversations where you can chat back and forth if you want to enable that. If somebody replies like help, then you can know that you need to write back to them. You don't have to enable that feature, but you can. But everything happens through this SMS provider. Nothing is happening through your phone. And I think that's really important for everyone to kind of wrap your head around. It's really not any different than email, except that it's going to your phone. Whoa, back up. Oh dear, where am I? Hold on. Oh, I went to the end. Sorry, guys, we are not done. You're getting a little preview. Okay. Tech fail. Stand by for technology. Here we go. Okay. The two types of SMS or MMS marketing are marketing and information, which would be things like new or a sale or, some information about plants, like, or something like there's going to be freezing rain tonight. Bring your house plant or bring your plants under cover, or we just got freezing rain. Don't try to knock it off your plants. So that's the marketing and info. And then transactional are things like order confirmation, shipping, post purchase. I think post-purchase workflows would actually be in marketing and info. Transactional is more like related to an order. And if you're a garden center, and that is generally hooked up and integrated with your shopping cart if you offer e-commerce. And most of that is not, if you're a garden center, for the most part, you might not use a lot of transactional messages. Okay, so more lingo to know, and I put all of this in your handout as well. This is part of the Learning to Speak SMS, so that you'll know what I'm talking about. A journey would be a multi-part message sequence, like a welcome sequence, or there are other things. So I noticed that I can never say their name. I'm terrible. Coatsiers, who has done a great job with their SMS this year, they a few weeks ago sent out a text message that said, would you like to receive memes, plant care information, or this? Like, it is a preference setting journey. So they sent a message, and I might text back memes if I want memes. And then that would put a tag on my profile. And then I might get, once that tag is added, I might get another message automated that's like, here's your first one. And so a journey is just a sequence where it's a flow, and you don't have to sit down and like type out each message every time. It's more of a set it and forget it type thing. Segments. So a segment is a portion of your SMS subscriber list. This term is also used in email. Journey and flow is also used in email. And you might segment your list or divide it up based on maybe you're using your SMS to get people to register for an event. So you only want to send like hey, the event is this weekend. Don't forget to wear your rain boots and bring your umbrella. And you just send it to the people that registered. So that would be a segment. Or maybe you only want to send to people who open the messages or click links. You can have a click segment. So it's just a way to divide up your list. You don't have to do segmenting, but that's what it means. Short code is a short SMS phone number. And so this is not a great example, the text point to 8675419, but I started typing it out. But isn't that it? That's in a pop song. It just like came to my head. But so instead of having like a big long phone number or an 800 number, you can have a short code, apply for a short code. And it might be like, text plant to 25019 or text plant to 1997. And that's your SMS phone number. And most places don't get a short code for themselves until they really like start sending a lot of SMS. There's a little bit more of a fee to do that. But if you become an SMS power user, it's a good thing to do. It also helps when you have a short code that when you are sending SMS during a really busy time of the year, like the Thanksgiving week and right after, that your messages are going to get through better. I had an experience on Black Friday this year where I had scheduled a bunch of SMS for a client and I never saw them come through. And I was like, where are they? And so I logged into Attentive. We use Attentive with them and they said they were just experiencing some delays. And so if ours was delayed, the people that didn't have a short code, I don't know if they even got sent that day. But that's what a short code is. TTJ, text to join. There's an example there. And then the CTA is not Chicago Transit Authority. It is a call to action. And that's a good word for us to all know because calls to action are really important, not only in text messages, but also in website design and email marketing, and social media posts. And what it is, it's like a call, like, hey guys, come visit us. It is a call to your viewers to take an action. I feel like I started typing out the rest of this and then just stopped. It is like a link. You always want to, at the end of a message, say, click here to get more info. Click here for hours and instructions. Come visit us. Our hours are this to this. Stop by and see us this week. Like, invite them to do something. I really like to include a link. I would much prefer to include a link over anything else because, for one thing, it also just helps you track people's behavior. All right, so this is some more boring jargon, but really important to know with SMS. The TCPA, which is the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, and that is what is kind of the decree of what you need to do, how you need to communicate with people about SMS and what they are agreeing to when they opt in. And this is where, and I will repeat this multiple times today, where I said, don't use a paper sign-up form for SMS. You really want people to opt in themselves from their phone so they can immediately confirm and make that connection that they in fact did opt into your list. And part of the reason is because of this information. And when you use your SMS service, they've got this covered for you. So this is an example from Bobo's. I haven't had one of their bars in a long time, but they are good. I just happened to see, like, this is a good example of a form. So all of this like tiny print here, that is added. I think I got this from Attentive. That is added by Attentive, which is the service. So they've got your back. As long as you use a service and you don't take out a bunch of stuff from their boilerplate, you're good. But these are the things that your sign up absolutely needs to cover. Be clear that they're opting into some auto messages, because right off the bat, they're going to get a message that says, hello, welcome, please reply this to confirm that this is the phone number that they're authorizing. So if I put in my phone number, I am authorizing my 317-313-8366, which it's in the handout. I am not worried about it being on recording. And that consent is not a condition of purchase, message and data rates, and then a link to your privacy policy, which your privacy, and this is all super teeny tiny right here, but it says message and data rates may apply, view terms and privacy. You should have a privacy policy on your website if you are period. But especially if you do email marketing and or SMS marketing and or if you have Google Analytics and you're collecting data. If you don't have a privacy policy, what we do with our clients is we recommend that you go to rocketlawyer.com and select privacy policy, and it'll walk you through everything that you need to fill out. Okay, not going to the end again. The other thing that you need to be aware of is the Cellular Telecommunications Industry Association guidelines. Again, when you use your service, the service will help make sure that you comply. And this is where the whole don't use a paper, you really want people to scan a QR code, tap to join, text to join, because immediately they're going to get a message that says, confirm your opt-in. You also want to, there's some regulations of like, if you're sending 100 text messages, over the course of, 100 text messages for you guys might be over the course of a year, that you are going to include opt-out language in a certain percentage of those messages. Now, I recommend whenever you can, and it's not going to push you into another billing bracket on your messages, to include the stop to stop. I don't know if you can see it, but one of my people is busy right now. We are doing a lot of adding to Dropbox right now. So I really recommend adding the stop to stop in every message that you can, because it helps people feel more comfortable, like they know what to do if they want out, and they are much less likely to report you to anywhere. Okay, the outgoing messages do need to include the brand name. Again, the services do this for you. Like when I set up Easy to Grow Bulbs SMS messages in Attentive, I don't even have to type Easy to Grow Bulbs. It just automatically puts it in there. And then it is a really good idea to, if you can, enable the conversations feature and an option for people to get help by replying help. Okay, we don't actually have 44 slides, so don't worry about that. Another bit of SMS lingo are the ADA guidelines, and I'm going to go way more not way as an exhaustively, but I'm going to go more into this in the next webinar. But here's something, just as you're working on any digital, guys, I am sorry about the drop. I might try to text Vi and say, stop adding things to Dropbox. So with ADA guidelines, what you want to remember is to high contrast. So whether it is your website, your email, a social media post, you can see on the left, it's really hard to read this. On the right, it's much easier to read. This is, you could be legally notified. There's some kind of, I don't know who's doing it. There are some ambulance chasers right now that are going after garden industry, specifically websites, for not meeting ADA guidelines with bold, legible, good contrast in the text, readable calls to action, and then there's some other stuff for web. These are the specifics for SMS. So we can talk about that more. But as you're making any type of collateral, these are just good rules of thumb because you want people to be able to read what you're saying. Otherwise, what is the point of sending it? Okay, so as we're talking about SMS, one thing that I want people always to know is that SMS is a lot different than email. There is a higher opt-out rate on every message. That's just how it goes. There's just more churn. People will unsubscribe, they'll sign back up during season. Don't worry about it. If you have a 1 to 2% unsubscribe rate per message, that's normal. If you had that in email, you would go out of business. But with SMS, that is the range. And you can use the preference features like, reply thumbs up if you like memes, to tag and sort your contacts so that you can hit people at different frequencies. Another way, shorter attribution window. Most people take action within the 3 minutes. There's a really high open rate. I think that might be my next slide. So shorter attribution window, but faster customer action. When they get your text, they act immediately or very shortly after. Whereas emails, they could click in an email 24 hours later, 3 days later, 5 days later. Email has a longer kind of shelf life than SMS. But SMS is, it's your most engaged customers. So let's talk about why SMS. So now you know some of the lingos. When you go through all of this, you're not like, what is this talking about? So why SMS? It is permission marketing. Now, all of the political parties and realtors that have somehow bought your phone numbers and are texting you incessantly asking to buy your house as is cash offer, that is not what this is. These are your most engaged customers that have given you permission, that have said, I want you to contact me this way. So there's no reason to feel like skeezy or smarmy or, slimy or whatever. So why? Because it's permission marketing. You're staying in touch with your best customers. The only person that's going to give you their phone number is somebody that really likes what you have to offer. I give my phone number for Harry Styles tickets and artisanal watercolors and J. Jill. Everything I wear is from J. Jill. So I am very happy to get messages from them. And if I don't get one when there is an artisanal watercolor drop from my favorite watercolor makers, I get kind of upset because I missed the window to buy the paints that I wanted to buy. So this is a way you're only going to talk to people that really love you when you use SMS. SMS is on your schedule and in your control because you decide when the messages get sent to people. It's not like you were talking out into the void and they may or may not see it because of whatever social media algorithm change there has been. It's also really easy to get started. After being here today and with the handout that you have, you guys should be able to, if you want, start an SMS program. That's not to say that if you run into hiccups, that there's anything wrong with you or it's anything bad. You shouldn't feel like a failure, but it's pretty straightforward to get started. And if you do have questions, you can call. There's me, there's other marketing agencies that serve horticulture, and we would be able to help you quickly. Whereas setup for a big email program is that takes a lot more time. So I just love SMS because it's so easy. A good reason to use it is to send alerts to customers. I think I'm on maybe 4 or 5 garden centers SMS lists because I like to spy on y'all and then use you as examples in talks. And so if you start SMS, send me an email and invite me to join your list because I really like to see what you're doing. But anyway, so there were a lot of really, really, really hot days last summer, and I got a fair number of text messages from different garden centers saying we are closing because it's 1,000,000 degrees outside. And so again, you can and should post that on Instagram or any of your other social media, but people may or may not see it. And the people that are on your SMS list are the ones that are most likely to care and know whether you are open or not that day, because those are the people that have the highest likelihood that they're going to come in and visit you. So I really thought those were great. Another thing is share info and know that it will reach your customers. So SMS, very much like email marketing, it's permission marketing. It hits their inboxes. You can put, this is a nice social media graphic that Potted Charm, which is a garden center and container garden design business, made and put on Instagram. And so if she sent it out over SMS, the watering instructions, then she would know that people would get it and not, they might stumble upon it on Instagram if they happen to be holding their phone right at the right phase of the moon and the time of day while wearing the right shirt. That's what the algorithm feels like to me some days. I don't know about you. And then another thing, availability. Tell people event registration is open. We just got a new truck of beautiful proven winners plants. Your most devoted customers, they want to know that as soon as you're ready to share the information. And that's what the permission marketing of SMS will let you do. SMS has huge engagement. 90% of people open the messages because all they do is click and it opens, and they take immediate action. And I don't think that I have something in this particular deck about this, but why I personally am starting to really like SMS as a consumer is that with SMS, I'm going to open my phone. Here's my group of texts. As I open things and they go away, or as I open things, they just get pushed down. I don't have to like file things and move things over. There's a lot less having to manage communication with SMS, whereas with email, you get it, you have to archive it, you have to file it, whatever. I just, as a consumer, I can look at it and I'm done. I don't have to do anything with it. And that's really nice in this age of like way too much stuff. SMS is something that customers are starting to expect. They're starting to ask for it, particularly those transactional messages like, order confirmation, order out for delivery, that sort of thing. Your dentist office, your hair place, like they all do those transactional types. But it's becoming, SMS is today probably, where email was maybe like 10 years ago. It's the time. People want it. And if they don't want it, the biggest thing is they won't sign up. So you don't have to worry about being spammy because if they don't want to get it, they just won't add their phone number to your list. And why SMS right now? Because the early bird gets the worm. SMS will become like email where people are like, no thanks, I get enough of this stuff already. So if they get on your list now because they really love what you have to offer, it is much less likely that they're going to unsubscribe. And it's more likely that they will go ahead and join. This is the sweet spot to get people, devoted customers on your list and stay on your list. Okay, so next we're going to talk about choosing a service, which it can be a complicated question. The answer is not the same for everybody. I just had one of my articles, I don't remember if it was in Grower Talks or Green Profit. It might have been in Grower Talks and talking about email marketing, but I mentioned that when you are deciding which service to choose, don't just ask your fellow garden centers or whatever and use exactly what they have. Take it, you can take it under advisement, but what's really important with email and your website and your SMS service is that they all work easily together as much as possible. And so what works for your friends that own a garden center, if you're in Indianapolis and your friends own a garden center in Boston and their website is with the VMX shopping cart and they have constant contact, like they could use whatever they want for SMS. Whereas if you have a Shopify website and you use Klaviyo for your email, you're going to want to use Klaviyo for SMS. So it is not, you can ask people if they like using things, but that might not be the right, it might not, that what they use might not work for you. And so I'm going to give you some information on how you figure out what's going to work for you. So, and there is some information about this in your handout as well. I go through some pros and cons of some, or not cons, but I go through some information about services that I have used and that I have talked with other people about using, and give you some links. There is also a link to a website called Capterra.com where you can do side-by-side comparisons of different software to see the features. It's a free website. That's really handy if you haven't used it. So when you are deciding what service to use, first look at your email marketing service. If they offer SMS, I would hands down start with that because you're already in there, you're already paying, you already have customer profiles that you can build on. You don't have to add another service. You don't have to learn another service. You just have to learn a piece of that service. So that's where I would start. If you are first starting out with SMS, and I would look at anything that seamlessly integrates. So let's say your email provider doesn't offer SMS, like maybe use Constant Contact. As of today, they didn't offer SMS. Things change like this. But if your email provider that you like doesn't offer it, then look at other services that integrate with what you have. So if you have a shopping cart, if you have like VMX, for example, is one that a lot of garden centers use, and it is newer. They don't have as many integrations with different services, and so you just need to, you want to look at first what will work together naturally, what are like out of the box integrations, like Shopify and Klaviyo work well together. WooCommerce and Klaviyo work well. WooCommerce, let's say Shopify and Attentive work well together. And so because your tech systems all talk to each other, if there are existing integrations, this is the language. When you talk to a customer service rep or a sales rep, say, is there an integration between whatever your website is, WordPress, and whatever SMS service you're talking to, say, tap on it. Is there an integration between these two existing? You can do that with your website and your email. Anytime you are trying to have two pieces of tech talk to each other, that's the language that you use with the salespeople. Is there an integration here? All right. If you use a CRM or if you use delivery or route planning software, then those might have some SMS capabilities. So what I'm getting at is look at what you already use and find out if SMS is a part of it and start there. Okay, so once you're ready to get started, here are the different steps that you're going to need to take. You're going to create a sign-up form. And again, this is the information with the accessibility, but you want to include the consent for automated messages. That is a really important part. And the unsubscribe info and that they're consenting to like data usage. I really liked the way they did this form because they did customize the language a little bit. It's still friendly, but it gets the point across. And I do like it that they tell you this would be an automated journey message. You will receive a text message asking you to reply with zip code. That's a way to tag customers so they can send them different types of communication. So I just thought that was a really nice sign-up form. You want to add a sign-up form to your website. Again, this happens through the software, the platform that you're using and your website. And so you'll create your form within your service. Let's say you're using Klaviyo for your SMS. You'll make your form, and then you will integrate that with your website. So there are different ways to integrate. I don't want you to get super, nervous about that. Follow the instructions, but Klaviyo will say, put this piece of code in this place on your website, and then you'll get a little link, and it's like, put this link on this part of your website, and then your form will show up. It can be simpler and more complicated than that, but most of these services have really good documentation. And you can see on here, here's all the little stuff that needs to be on the sign up form. Okay, I really liked this. So I am like thumbs down on QR codes as restaurant menus, but I am thumbs up on QR codes to get people on your SMS or your email list. This is the Coatsiers. They send a regular email newsletter, and once they start a text, they put a QR code, join our text club. I thought that was really nice. That's a way to get your email subscribers in. Depending on which service you use, some email services will let you decide to, or let you indicate whether you want to show a particular block on mobile versus desktop. And so then on mobile, it might be a click to join link. So on desktop, it would be a QR code. On mobile, if people open it on their phone, it would show a click to join. All the different services have different features. Some offer that, some don't. But I thought that was a good way to do it. Here's Groovy Plant Ranch. If you haven't been there when you've been to Cultivate, clean out your car, go to the ATM and get ready to spend a bunch of money because they have a lot of cool plants. And so they had these signs all around, and they're very simple. They're just signs that are laminated. And I really like the way they say, become a VIP. I like the way the Coatsiers said, join our text club. Nobody wants to be on a list unless it's a waiting list for Harry Styles tickets. Like, don't say join our list. That's not fun. Say join our club, be our VIP. So the words matter. You can add a sign up landing page link to Linktree, on a link tree, on a link in bio, on Instagram, etc. These are just some examples of that. We use Later for social media. I don't have an SMS sign up. I have a newsletter sign up on here, but put a button here that would take them to a text landing page. In your stories, you can use the sticker for the link. And this is really important when you're getting people to sign up. I don't know if I put this anywhere else. See, I can talk for hours. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Tell people what to expect. We will send an SMS every Friday at 10 a.m. with this week's food trucks, featured plant, and whatever. We send once a week with plant care information, once a week with event information. Help them set their expectations for what they're going to get at the point of sign up. All right, create a contact card. You can do this with in your service, your text marketing service, Attentive, Klaviyo, Twilio, tap on it. They will have a feature where you can set up a contact card, and then to be able to send it to people to say, save this, so that when they get a text from you, it's not just a random string of numbers. They can see it's from you. Oh, I know that. This is Botany in South Bend. So do your contact card. All right. Do not ever use a paper sign-up form for SMS unless you want a world of hurt. Because what happens is that if you get somebody to sign up on a paper form at the register, and then 3 days later, you finally put those phone numbers into the system, then those phone numbers get the confirm opt-in reply message. They have no idea. They don't remember even filling it out. It's going to come back to bite you. You really need people to opt themselves in via their phone. You can get away with stuff on email. You cannot get away with on SMS. So you're going to want to schedule some messages. So I went ahead and took some screenshots this is from the Klaviyo interface. And, so this is the way one of the words on the handout is campaigns. Like, what does the word campaign mean in SMS language? Campaign really means like a message. An email could be an email campaign. An SMS message is a campaign. So you will often have a campaign information part, like one screen where you'll fill out this information, which is like the name, who you're going to send it to, if you want to suppress. There's smart sending, which I might talk about a little bit more. And I'm going to talk way more in February. So you have this where you're like setting up the settings for the campaign, and then you will hit almost all of them. You hit next, and then you'll go to a screen where you build the message. And so there'll be a little place where you type in what you want to say. It will give you character counts so that you know how much it's going to cost you when you send it. And then you'll see a little preview. If you had added media, then it would show in the preview. There's no media in this example that I have. So here's some tips where I've done a lot of testing. So I know a lot of good sending time information for B2B and B2C for SMS. Every day of the week. It's a little bit different depending on what you're doing, but in general, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. is good time for SMS. 7 p.m. might seem late, but there's a lot of people that are just kind of like, they're done with dinner, they're looking at their phone, and you can test it to see like what times work for you. But 7 p.m., I've had a lot of success with that for all kinds of businesses. Use smart sending. So you don't want people are a lot more sensitive to getting over texted. And so smart sending will help you exclude people that have already been texted with like a welcome sequence or an abandoned cart flow or something. You can set it to be whatever you want. Usually it's at least 24 hours. Sometimes with SMS, it might be 48 or 72, and that just won't send to them if they've already received a message. We did talk about in the whole language part about a call to action. You really want to, I really think it's a good idea to put a link there. You don't want the SMS to be a dead end. If there's no link, then invite them to take an action like, okay, now go pinch your tomatoes. I do like to use memes when I can, if it's brand appropriate. So these were two that I made up last summer and winter. No, I guess they were summer, and they both did really well because they made people laugh. And only one image per message if we're not using a GIF or a video, because on a lot of phones, if you send more than one message, it's going to like send more than one picture, it's going to stack them on top of each other. And then it's like, why do you even have it there? Because people can't really see the whole thing. Okay. So, okay, I can breathe now. That is my SMS 101, and you want to make sure, and I'm going to take questions now, but you want to make sure that if you want, this is the Garden Awards Instagram. If you want, we do little marketing tips and stuff. LinkedIn, more like short form content. Sometimes I disappear from LinkedIn. And then this is the handout. If you didn't already grab it, it has all of this language. It has that slide with how SMS works. And thank you for letting me talk all about this. I hope that it's helpful.
Katie, that was amazing. So we do have a couple questions, and I don't know if you've got the Q&A up, but Brandon had a question pertaining to a service to correspond with customers individually. So for example, they bought a tree from your business. Now you have to schedule delivery. Is there something that you would recommend there?
Okay, so the delivery, yes, if you do delivery, what I would look at is there are some route planning, delivery, SaaS, software as a service, options, and I think most of those include some SMS capability. So that is sort of a specialty. That's sort of a specialty type of software. But if you do a lot of delivery, that's how you would run that. And Cleason Wholesale, they do this. I mean, obviously they're a wholesaler, but oh my gosh, if you can email me, Brandon, I can dig around and find who they use. And there are a couple other places that I've talked to, but that's what I would look at is the route and delivery software. That's how you would route that. Now, one other thing to this is if you have e-commerce and you have like Shopify, people use ShopPay, people can opt into tracking messages that you don't have to do anything with. It's just like where, other than probably scan the barcode like as something moves through. But I think what you're looking for is more like a delivery planning.
Cool. And Brandon did mention he's going to email you separately, Katie. So
okay,
we're good here. So I do have a question for you. Going way back to kind of the beginning of the webinar, you talked a little bit about ADA compliance, and I know that's a big deal right now. Do you have anything on your webpage, or do you have information that you could share with the group just about where they could find more information on making sure that they are in fact compliant with everything that they're doing? I know, high contrast and things like that, but is there something specific that that you could point them to?
I mean, what I kind of was saying this earlier, we were chatting. I would just Google ADA compliance for websites, ADA compliance for SMS, and there are government websites, and then in particular, the Attentive mobile service has a lot of really good articles about all of this. So I would look for the actual law. I would look at the government websites, but Attentive has tons of good consumer education.
That's awesome. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about expectations. I know some of the folks on the webinar today obviously are already doing SMS. Some folks are just sort of toe in the water. Some haven't started. Mm-hmm. Building that, because I think we need to have realistic expectations that your list is going to take time as people opt in and you start communicating. So what is a realistic expectation if you're just starting?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I will say with SMS, you get more results the bigger your list. It is kind of a volume thing. I've just gotten some clients started on consumer related SMS. And I mean, they're getting some sales off of the welcome sequence because they do e-commerce, but they're not getting a lot of sales off of the first messages. So I would say you're going to need to, if you just start fresh, give it at least a month for people to, if you're sending out once or twice a week, for people to start, getting used to responding to you. But and if you aren't doing direct e-com, like if you can't directly track a text message to an e-com sale, you might not know for a while. You can have your cashiers at the register, say, how did you hear about us? Just like you're trying to track all your other marketing initiatives. You can send a coupon or say, bring this in for a purchase. That's a way that, and, just old fashioned tally sheet, like how many, depends on your POS, or if you don't have a POS, a tally sheet's great. But it's going to take at least a month to start seeing some activity. And I would say give it like a season. Like if you start this season, make a commitment to do it through at least July or something, and just give it a little bit of time because it takes a while to grow.
That's a great answer. So we have a few questions pertaining to SMS versus, MMS and costing. Anything that you can share that way?
Yeah, so it depends on how much it costs, depends on the service that you use. The cheapest or least expensive messages are just text-only messages that fall within a certain number of characters. And I really haven't, that's a good question for me to look up. It depends on the carrier, it depends on the service, but it's usually like around 120, 140 characters of text only. That might be considered one SMS message. That's the least expensive to send. Whenever you add an emoji, that automatically jacks up the price, because it takes more data, I guess. So if you add one, like with Attentive, if you add one emoji, that's like 3 credits. But if you add 3 more emojis, it's like no more credits. So it's up to it depends on the service that you're using. When you add media, when you add a picture or a video, MMS is always a little bit more expensive. Sometimes the messages will be billed as like one MMS and one SMS. I feel like I'm not answering the question. The real answer to this question is once you get into a service, you kind of have to play around with what you care to send people and how much you want to pay for it. It is going to be a little bit of investment for you in the beginning because you're going to spend money to send these out and you might not have a whole lot of interaction for a little while. But I've started getting pretty thrifty with the messages that I write for clients and really like, okay, can I cut this word down? How do I do this? Can I abbreviate this to make sure that it like looks good and also doesn't cost a lot if we're not in like a high season?
Yeah, that's a great answer. So, quick question for you, going back to ADA, and Robin asked this question. Are there ADA checkers for SMS like there are for websites right now for garden centers to make sure that they're being compliant there, or is that something that just doesn't exist?
Oh, because like I use Litmus for my email testing. I don't know. Robin is always so if y'all don't know Robin is always so far ahead of the curve with everyone. She keeps me on my toes. I'm gonna look it up. I am not sure. I mean, I do know that when you work with services, they do their best to the services help you like with Attentive. I know I've said that a lot because I use it a lot. I use Attentive and Klaviyo a lot for clients. I have talked to a lot of people that use Twilio, Tap on It. I think there's like a couple more that I put on the list. I'm pretty sure Attentive has to approve your sign-up forms. Klaviyo might do that as well, and they won't approve it if it's not compliant. So, but I'm going to look, that is a good question. I'm going to look it up.
Awesome. So Brandon had one more question. I think we're gonna end it with this one, Katie. But for those of you on the line, certainly if you have additional questions, we're going to be sending out the recording after the webinar. We'll make sure that we connect you with Katie so you can ask those questions. But Brandon was asking, what if they have a large list of phone numbers that exist already? Can they text them and ask them to opt in versus an organic scanning the QR code? He's saying they have that existing list. What is your recommendation there? Or is there a strategy?
Yeah, if you have existing phone numbers, if it is transactional is a lot different than marketing. You still really should have permission to send the transactional, like delivery confirmation. For the people that you have their phone numbers, hopefully you also have their emails. I would email them with the QR code or the click to join or whatever. I would never in a million years upload a phone list to any service unless we were migrating. And I did migrate a client. This gets way in, but I did migrate a client from Klaviyo SMS to Attentive. We still use Klaviyo for email. And there's a whole migration process whereby you move the list to Attentive, you tell people that you've moved, you ask them to reconfirm. Like it is a lot of rigmarole. Yeah, I would not upload a phone list. I would invite them via email or signs because you can kind of get away with typing emails in these days. People are okay with it. We're not there with phone numbers.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you, Katie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just
I'll stop sharing
really quickly.
Yep.
You're good. And I have just a quick thing to share with the group, and then we'll be done for this afternoon. I wanted to just share a couple things pertaining to some upcoming webinars, because I know Katie had mentioned, and let me move this out of the way here. She had mentioned that this is sort of the first in a two-part series about SMS. And so I did want to mention we have a webinar coming up at the end of January on the 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We've got the team from Classic Caladiums and Abbott IPCO sharing tips about how to grow a stunning crop of caladiums. So would love to have you join for that. But really what I want to do is encourage you to jump back on Thursday, February 23rd, 2 p.m. Eastern. And I kind of liken this to, this is a 100 level in college of SMS. Katie's going to take it to like the 400 or the graduate level and really do a deep dive into best practices, next steps with SMS. So if you're already taking part, this is a great opportunity for you to learn more. This webinar, all of our webinars are recorded. So the URL that we have at the bottom of the screen here All of the recordings are put there. We'll also be sending you a quick follow-up email, just thanking you for joining, giving you the recording, and also making sure that you have access to the handout. If you didn't get that from Katie yet, if you didn't use a QR code, we'll make sure that you all have access to that. Definitely, if you don't sign up or if you haven't signed up for Katie's emails, get her emails. They're amazing. Lots of Harry Styles info, but lots of additional tips too. And with that, I just want to sincerely thank you all for your time. Thank you for your business. We're really looking forward to an amazing 2023, and I certainly hope you all are too. And just wanted to thank you, and we'll see you all again on the next webinar. Bye-bye.